Hello, everybody, and welcome to Tony the Mole Adams YouTube channel. We had a week off because Tony was a bit ill. How are you feeling now, Tony?
Yeah, a lot better. Survived COVID, Steve. So that's got to be a good thing. And yeah, still not quite 100%, but I was survived the 80 minutes tonight. So or 85 minutes or so. So a real thriller at Accor Stadium.
Yeah, that's right. And normally you can't tell that Tony and I are coming to you from different hemispheres, but in this episode you definitely can because Tony's got his hoodie on and he's almost shivering, and I've got a sunburnt face because I'm here in Toulouse where France are hosting England to celebrate 90 years of rugby league in France. And I realized yesterday that I had sunscreen all along. I went to try and shop for some, and then I looked in my wash bag, and I've had some all week. So anyway, Tony, yeah, it was a great. Matt Burton's wobbly old field goal, I think 3 minutes into overtime, hit the right upright and went through. And it's kind of maybe a bit of a sliding doors moment for those two teams because the Dogs are on the up, and maybe the Sharks, after starting the year so well, are on the slide a little bit. So that one field goal maybe says a lot, particularly since Sharkies scored 3 tries to 2.
Yeah, that's right. And Burton actually missed 2 field goals before that, 2 harder field goals, you'd have to say, or easier field goals, sorry. And this one, he was really under pressure, just got it off, hit the upright and went in. So the Dogs are being favoured by the gods, and they're now in fifth position. So I guess you'd have to say a finals position is theirs to lose at this point of the season.
Now, it has been a while since we have done a video. We're not going to go over the last 2 weeks of rugby league news, but a quick word on the men's origin and on the women's origin, Tony.
Yeah, well, the Blues just got off to a golden start, didn't they? They had the game won basically after 15, 20 minutes. They came out full of hunger and desire, and not many gave them a chance. I think a lot of people thought it'd be Queensland 2-0 heading up to Brisbane for clean sweep. So now we've got an even series, and it all comes down to Suncorp Stadium. And Blues fans, we've been in this position many times before and ended in disappointment. But a new coach, a new era, plenty of new players. So who knows? They might just pull it off.
Okay, let's move on to your column, and that's what we're here to promote. You can read it on 9.com.au. There's a link in the show description here on YouTube. And Tony, I reckon a lot of people hear about young players for the first time from you. Jamie Humphries is the star of your first item. Jamie Humphries and Waybe Bennett. Tell us all about him.
Yeah, well, the Humphreys name, Jamie is the grandson of former league boss Kevin Humphreys, who ruled rugby league with an iron fist when you and I were young back in the 70s and 80s, Steve. His dad, Steve, also played a bit of first grade, so he's got a real pedigree. But the interesting thing is Waybe Bennett, who, as we know, is coaching the Dolphins, is obviously having a say in what's going on at South Sydney, and he signed him, and he's a halfback hooker, so he could be a shock choice for the halfback role for South next year. We know that there's a bit of consternation about the halfback role with Lachlan Ilias being told he can look around, which his manager Braithen Astor's not very happy about. So this young kid, he's 22 years old. He's been touted as having a big future at Manly, but they've got plenty of halves at Manly, so they've decided to let him go, and should be interesting to see how he goes at the Bunnies.
Here's another fella I got to admit I hadn't heard of, Tane Marshall-Wallace. Who is he? He's got a pretty famous he's an uncle? Uncle? No.
Uncle, yes. Yes. His uncle is none other than Benji Marshall, Tane Marshall-Wallace. So we're seeing the new generation of Benjis. He's only 15, but he's a Kiwi, much like Benji. And he's been signed for 4 years by the Titans. And it shows you what sort of esteem the Titans hold him in. Very rarely does a 15-year-old get a 4-year deal. He comes from the Bay of Plenty. He's a rugby union convert. He's not a playmaker like Benji. He's more a strongly built outside back, but one to watch over the next couple of years.
Now, I believe in the West Tigers Chairman's Lounge last week, a very special guest of CEO Shane Richardson was our good mate Brad Walter, who got under Billy Slater's nose at the press conference the other night. But another fella who was there is a guy whose career has just gone in a weird direction, definitely downwards. David Nofoaluma. What's the story with David Nofoaluma?
Yeah, well, he's a player of undoubted ability, isn't he, Steve? And he's the only Tiger to score 100 tries. He left the club last year to go to England. That didn't last very long. He only played a handful of games. He was back, as you say, in the Chairman's Lounge. So that got tongues wagging. And he's actually signed to play for Glebe in the Ron Massey Cup. But what he was telling people in the Chairman's Lounge is no, he's not coming back to the Tigers, but what he wants to do is get his body right. And whilst it seems like he's been around forever, he's only 30 and he looks after himself. So his plan is, as I said, to get his body right and have a crack at the NRL next year. My quiet tip, maybe the Storm, who he played a few games for in a guest stint last year, or maybe the Roosters, who actually run the Glebe Dirty Reds. So if I had to pick a couple of teams he might end up with, I'd say it'd be one of those two.
Okay. And we know a few old-fashioned expressions in rugby league, which you don't hear much anymore. And one of them I remember, no names, no pack drill. I think that was like an expression from, might have been a World War One expression. I don't know, but you don't hear it anymore. But anyway, this is a no names, no pack drill item, I assume. But one coach in the NRL has got two of his senior players working against him behind the scenes.
Yeah, that's right. And this coach is not of one of the leading teams in the NRL, shall we say. So there's a bit of a clue. And two of his big name players aren't happy with the way they're being treated. They haven't been firing, so the coach has put a bit of a rocket up them. It hasn't gone down well. It's not a happy camp, as you might have guessed, and they play this weekend. There's a bit of a clue. So it'll be very interesting to see just how they go and how these two players go.
Well, it's very busy here in Toulouse, Tony, and I've got plenty of things I could be doing, like drinking red wine and eating steak and snails. But I'm not going to do any of that stuff until I post this video. Don't forget, everybody, to like and subscribe. It's good to see you back up and about, Tony. And looking forward to the test match here tomorrow. A bit of late news for the viewers, assuming that I do get the video posted in time. But 11th hour deal, so the match is shown on Fox League, so you will be able to watch it on your normal rugby league channel. But Tony, it's been an absolute pleasure. Stay warm, and I'll try to stay out of the sun.
Will do, yes. Put the sun cream on. Slip, slop, slap.